The progress is nice, and the progress is 2022. We moved together. I told you after doing the preparation of the land, plowing, and everything, I told you this year, 2022, we are going step by step. Now this is the house. We are taking our time. So we are doing the pillars today. We have done this, the trusses. They are there. And we are left by, I think, 5 trusses, which we intend to complete by tomorrow. And also intend to complete doing the pillars tomorrow. So I'll do for you a video of the progress of the structure every other time, so that every 3 days you can see the progress. In 1 week's time, we'll be done with the structure. The following week, I'll be collecting eggs. People are wondering. In 1 week's time, this structure will be finished. And in the other week's time, I'll be collecting eggs from this structure. There are so many questions. People are asking and wondering how. Today, let's look at the structure. Let's know how we are doing it. Let's know what are the requirements that you need to know when you're building your own chicken house. Those are the same structure, the same requirements are followed to build mine. So I'm going to take you through bit by bit, so that I do them practically. When you want to do yours, you can also do them. Okay? Any questions? Just drop them down there. I will answer them. I'll write back to you. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, kindly hit the subscribe button, join the family. You'll keep learning much about poultry and crops production. It's a simple structure. It measures 9 meters, actually 9 meters by 33 meters. It's a super project. When you want to build a chicken house, is it just building the material, collecting the equipment and building the house? What are some of the things that you look at when you want to build your own chicken farm or chicken house? Very important thing you look at is the sunrise and sunset. Okay, we check on sunset and sunrise because you don't want to have so much sunlight into the structure. And a very good example, for example, is this structure that I'm building. The sun rises in the east. This is the east, and the sun sets in the west. This is the west. So you have to make sure that the gable of the house, like the gables at the sides, the width of the house has to be on the sunrise and also has to be on the sunset, so that the sun rises, and as the sun goes up, it just rises from one side of the structure, and when the sun is high, it's actually on top of the structure. It's shining straight on the roof, and then when the sun sets, it sets the other gable. Okay, when you have the sun rising from the north and setting in the south or the opposite, you'll find that when the sun is at this direction, it shines so much into the structure. So the chicken are so much stressed, and they move from one side of the structure and they crumble on the other side of the structure. That is maybe towards morning hours. And towards evening hours, when the sun is setting, then the birds are also pushed to the opposite direction. Okay? We understand very well that oviposition or laying takes place very well between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. in the day. Okay? This is the time when the sun is when the sun heat levels are starting to go high. So it means that when the birds now move to one side, that side that the birds would have gone to, they will actually be stampede there, and laying won't take place as you expect. All right? And also, when you have too much light into the structure, the birds have a tendency of stress. So then water intake basically goes high. And when water intake goes high to regulate the heat that is absorbed by the birds, feed intake will be reduced. And when feed intake is reduced, it means that production or egg count is lowered or reduced. We are doing chicken farming as a business. And so when you lose an egg, we are losing a shilling. That's what you're trying to avoid so much, okay? The other factor that is very important that you need to look at is the winds. You have to avoid as much as you can dry winds or very strong winds from blowing into the structure. Okay, you see the structure is actually, these are poles we're using, and we're using them to do the walls, like the pillars, and then we do a wire mesh. Okay, so basically the structure is like, it's more of a shed. It's much open. when the wind blows into it, it's likely to blow out the roof. So that's why you really need to avoid wind pads. Wind pads are quite necessities that ought to be given attention. Build the structure in a way that the wind is shielded by the gables as well. So here we have a tendency of winds blowing from the east, the west, and the opposite. So when the winds blow into this structure, actually it will be so much minimal wind going directly through the structure. So because most of the wind, when it comes, it will hit that wall over there, and it will also hit that wall over there. So the two aspects that you really need to pay attention to while building a structure are wind and light. The other important aspect that you can now control, the two, wind and light, are the aspects that they are very important and you cannot control. Once you build your structure in the wrong direction, if you build it in the northwest direction, you are done. Production will be so much affected. You are done and you are done. Once you build your structure in a path of wind, the likelihood of the roof being blown off is very high. And mostly the beauty about it is the wind patterns, so we'll follow also the sunrise and sunset patterns. Now, the other important aspect is the height of the structure. My structure, I'm doing it 10 feet from the floor. So this is the floor. This course here, the last course here, after setting this pillar, so the floor will be, once we do the hardcore and we do the maram and all that, and we do the ballast, the concrete, it will reach this level of this last course. So the distance from this course to the roof should be 10 feet or 3 meters, not less than that. This is because it is very hot, and the higher the roof, the cooler the structure. But if you're doing your structure in an area that is, let's say it's hot, it's cool or cold, you also lower the structure, but it should not go below 2 meters. When it goes below 2 meters, the seasons keep changing, and you can have another season that is very hot, like January and February. So that's why you recommend, even if you go low, just go, maybe it's recommended you go at least 2.5 for the height of the structure. That will do well for you. But make sure in a hot area, nothing less than 10 feet. When building a structure, make it simple. Our structure here is very simple. Very simple. It does not cost much. I know the question that will keep coming is how much it has costed. I will do a video on that. How much it has costed. That is the question I keep being asked. The cost of the structure depends on the location. For example, where I am, I'm buying a piece of one block at 51 shillings. Another person will buy the block at 30 shillings. Another person will buy the block at even 120 shillings, depending on that. So those are the factors that make the construction cost vary. So just build a simple structure. Look at the costs so that you can even have a smooth, seamless structure. For example, look at our ground. The ground has to be smooth so the water can flow evenly.